Yes.
is with the topic of coincidence or chance. I'm pretty familiar with the law of karma. I have dealt with a lot of things in my life, especially through my blindness, and I don't consider myself not a victim
I
anymore.
understand. Yes. Exactly.
But still, there are sometimes things happening
Uh-huh.
where I have difficulty just to explain it with the law of
Oh,
karma.
really? So tell me, give me an example.
Well, for example, if I just walk in the door, that's for me just chance or coincidence.
Sorry, what do you mean just walk in a door? You mean knock the door?
Yeah,
Oh, bump into a door?
yeah.
No, no, no. Okay. In one sense, it's true. Most of what we do is we seem to just float along and do them. But if you take the simple view that whatever you label unpleasant is the fruit of a negative action, and whatever you label pleasant is the fruit of a virtue. That's the most fundamental one. So 1,000 times a day, you can put it simply this way, Erhard, your attachment. You see, attachment's the one that drives us at the moment in samsara. And attachment's a junkie that only that has to manipulate to get all the nice things happen. You know, the food at the right time, the money at the right time, no doors in the way, not falling over. That's what attachment's job is. And only because we've got attachment, Erhard, would we get unhappy when you meet the door or don't, or fall off the step or don't get the person be kind to us. So then every millisecond, if you label it, because, okay, so let me add more to this. There's another state of mind that's in the third category of states of mind. They're the ones under the heading called neutral, which I like to call mechanics. And one in there, one's called concentration, one is called good memory. There are many, many, many of these, the mechanics. Now, one of these also, which sounds curious to us to call it neutral, is a word called feeling. And this is a fundamental one. It comes into the 12 links of Buddha's description of the reality, of the whole universe, how we create reality. One is called feeling. And in our life, in a day, in any day, we have either a pleasant feeling, an unpleasant feeling, or a neutral feeling. But for this purposes, let's forget the neutral. They're boring. So we all know that if you think simply, having attachment and having aversion, being ordinary samsaric beings, we only want the pleasant feelings, and we do not want the unpleasant feelings. So something as mild as knocking the door to the most intense of being cut into pieces while you're conscious, that's called unpleasant feelings. You accept my point, in theory? Every time the smallest thing, like a breeze on a hot day, to the most intense, blissful, joyful feelings. Every millisecond of the day, there is a feeling, and it's either pleasant or unpleasant. And it can be through in the mental consciousness, but it can also be through in our sensory consciousness via our body. Now, we know another word for those two is happiness and suffering. You with me? They're very dramatic words, happiness and suffering, but pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling sound more basic. But that's essentially it. So every millisecond of the day, if we added up the number of pleasant feelings we've had today, using the Buddhist view, that means our attachment just got what it wanted. But nothing wrong with that, because every one of those pleasant feelings is necessarily the fruit of a virtuous seed you planted in your bank vaults countless lives ago. As many moments as you can count in today's experiences that you can label pleasant, and there are variations of them, and that's from virtuous actions. Very simple. One of your virtuous actions, like popped out of your ATM, and it just ripened as a pleasant feeling. Every time an unpleasant feeling arises, that is the fruit of a non-virtuous action. And then probably you count 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a day, because it's moment by moment. So that technical point of view. Now, practice. So, okay, if you're a victim, how dare the door be there, it's not my fault, then you just get angry and you create more karma and more suffering. If you're working with it, which you are, then you go, karma ripened, what to do? One less debt to repay, as one of my Jewish rabbi Kabbalah friends said. Every time something bad happens, great, one less debt to repay. In other words, you use the transforming problems approach, the bodhisattva's approach. Every time something bad happens, that's one less negative karma to ripen. So that would be the interpretation. You with me?
Yes, I understand, but that just means in a Buddhist point of view, a thing like chance does not exist.
No, can't. In the same way that if botany is a natural law, how can something be random? How can something that goes on in that garden not fit in the law of botany? That's the way to put it. And if it is a natural law, that's a logical deduction. It can't be random. It can't not fit into the law. It's a very shocking concept because we're not used to thinking this way. But it's like that, isn't it? If it is a natural law, which is what the Buddha's saying. that it occurs and no one runs it and it's not punishment and not reward. That's why they say we're really the greatest practitioners. You're watching your mind, your body and speech like a hawk every second, because every one of our actions of body, speech and mind sow seeds. Like you'd be a good gardener, you wouldn't just randomly chuck seeds into the garden. You've got to know what seeds you're planting so you know the fruit you're going to get, isn't it? It's absolutely not chance, can't be. Do you understand the point? Yeah. Yeah, it is tough. Exactly right. Yeah, it's really true. It's a shocking view actually, because we can see the way we respond every day to things. Go on in your notes. Yeah, go. Yeah. Oh, really? Why? What do you mean? What?
That people that are actually connected to each other and are begging on the street.
Oh, sorry. It's got to start again. We've lost you. Start again.
So, people homeless on the street.
Yes.
Basically, half of them, or less about that, they're like a part of a scheme. They're
Okay.
begging in top
Okay. Fine. Okay. Then. Okay. That means you just got to have wisdom, isn't it? Compassion is the wish to help. You've got to have that. But wisdom is the ability to know that what you do will help and be based on real wisdom. That's the best action to do. So given that, that you not have the wisdom of clairvoyance to see the minds of all these homeless people, or don't have the clairvoyance to see anybody's mind for that matter, you do what you do is the right thing for you at that moment to create a moment of generosity. What else can you do? You're not in charge of the world. Like it's almost as if, when your boss gives you your salary, they didn't put a little in their contract, as long as you don't use your salary to use guns, to have girlfriends, to cheat on your wife, to drink heroin, to eat bad food, to be a meat eater. They don't give you any qualifications like that. That's your business. You've got a contract with your boss to do the work well, and they'll pay you, and they mind their own business what you do with your money. It's the same with a homeless person. You see the person, you make a decision, I'm going to be generous, and you mind your own business. That's my approach. If you see a person about to buy a gun and needs another $5, don't give them $5. But if you have enough wisdom to know it is not beneficial for that person, but we don't have that level of wisdom, so you do it with a pure heart, the wish to help. That's it. What more can you do? What do you think? Still problem. Why? And you're trying to control everything, and you can't.
I'm afraid I'm just pushing that person to speak more.
You didn't hear a word I said. No, you didn't, because you wouldn't say that if you did. That's like your boss discovering you're a heroin addict. But am I paying him a salary? Maybe I shouldn't pay him a salary because he eats heroin. He can't not pay you a salary because your agreement is you do this much work and he pays you. Come on, you just got to decide to make a decision. It's not your business what he does with his money. It's not your business. Don't be so arrogant. It's not your business. It is not your business. You have to wish to be generous. You just be generous. You can't control everything that goes on after there, which is what you're sort of implying we ought to do, You understand? My feeling. But use your wisdom. Be reasonable. If you really believe a person's cheating you, and even then if they're cheating you, all the more reason to be humble, to give them money. Out of humility. Please cheat me. Here, take my $5 and go and, do something else. So there's many reasons why it's good to do. We want to be in charge of everything, as long as you have a banana. They don't want your bloody banana. They want your francs, Do you understand? We're so patronizing. I remember in San Francisco when I'd go walking at night and I'd see all the homeless people, the drunk people, this guy in a wheelchair with no clothes on in 10 below freezing with his clothes off, completely alcoholic and heroin addict all in one. What could I do to him? Not give him $10? Give me a break, Come on, please. Don't be so moralistic. But be intelligent at the same time. What can you do? For example, if you're in Bodh Gaya and you start being generous, here's, take my rupees, you will get mobbed and your money will be ripped out of your pocket and all your possessions as well. Be intelligent. Use your common sense, Do you understand? All right, people. Is it tea time or going home time? I'm a bit confused. But what did it say on the thing? 10 to 4 or 10 to 5? Oh, did it? You can go home now if you like. I talk fast. If I had my iPad, which I don't, I didn't bring it, so I could have read you from Lama Yeshe to make you happy. Has somebody got? Oh, no, I haven't got it. Wherever I look, I haven't got it. What to do?
One more question.
Yeah, go on then.
What is intuition from a Buddhist point of view?
Or tell me what you think it is.
I think it's a feeling, it's a subtle feeling or kind of a memory from past lives which triggers in this right moment, triggers like a hidden memory,
Yes.
which I experienced already.
Okay.
And gives me this feeling of, oh, this is right or wrong.
Okay. All right. Well, okay, let's look at it. It could be that, but because it's called intuition, I don't think it follows that it's wise. I mean, if you could say that white supremacist who read Hitler, wow, I felt I'd come home. Like he would have said, if he talked this way, intuition just felt right. That was wrong. For example, or this is how karma and feeling, where we're talking about feeling, this thing of feeling rising every second, pleasant or unpleasant. This is plays a huge role in the way we create karma and the choices we make. So, you know, another example I always talk about this boy. A little boy is a fisherman. And so in the same way that one little boy had compassion, due to past non-killing, got born in this life with the wish not even to kill the lice in his own head, the other little boy, aged 3, 4, 5, went fishing for the first time and fell in love with fishing. So what happens is this. He's got the killing karma in his mind from the past lives being in the lower realms, the Buddha would say. He exhausted that karma, the main karma. He got a human birth, like a miracle. But then he hadn't purified all aspects of the killing, which now in this life will become residual results of the main karma. So he's born with a tendency to kill again. So the moment he went fishing, what happens is this. The karmic imprint is there. As soon as he met the condition called fishing, that triggered, it's like triggered a memory of it, like you said, and then instantly triggered a really pleasant feeling from having done it before. From a really pleasant feeling. And the next millisecond, attachment came and then wrote this magnificent story about how divine fishing is. And because we are junkies for good feelings, he deduced logically fishing must be good. And what the attachment does is make fishing look delicious. Attachment exaggerates the delicious aspects of the object. So he was a fisherman all his life, and he never once saw suffering. His mummy went fishing with him one time. She couldn't bear it. All she could see was the suffering of the fish. He literally couldn't see it. They saw the same fish in the same boat, but his attachment had a big elaborate story, and he got good feelings every time. And this is the point about feeling. That's, in fact, due to his past virtue, but the tragedy is it's triggered in relation to doing a negative action. So he tips all his good virtuous karmas down the toilet. So feeling is such a powerful one. So because we're junkies for good feelings, if it feels good, we think the thing that caused it must be good. It doesn't follow. That's the point I'm saying. Do you understand my point? Okay. So if you do have an intuitive feeling that helping others is good, wow, baby, go for it. But you have the intuitive feeling that fishing is wonderful, question it. Do you understand? What else? Yes, Pablo.
The more you talk about karma, the more I think that I need some teaching about what reincarnation is and how does it do.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk simply, but the actual understanding of the mechanics and the technology of it clearly is highly sophisticated. It's like understanding how does E equals MC squared work. That's the technicality of it. But you learn the principles first, you know. So basically speaking, like I said before, we take the view that your consciousness is a continuity of mental moments, a river of mental energy, programmed with everything you put in it. At the time before your present last death, due to certain conditions, like I said, we can deduce that your death was fairly happy, fairly peaceful. Because when the mind is peaceful, that can trigger one of your virtuous karmic seeds. So we can deduce that one of your virtuous non-killing karmic seeds, like I said with Gem, that you'd probably practice a spiritual path in the past in the context of living in vows of morality. That's really tasty seeds. One of those was triggered, which instantly then help trigger the other tendencies in your mind, your tendencies to be this and that, the experiences, all the other karmas, all ready and programmed, ready to take effect. So then you eventually die. You'll die a very happy death. You'll be very pleased and very happy when you die. And then you'll go to this, you'll wake up in this subtle kind of in-between state. They call it like a dream state. It's called the intermediate state. The experience of it is just like a dream. But that life's over, that finished over, you know, and then you're waiting for your next rebirth. Driven. The main driver of all of this, and this is where Buddha's view of attachment goes to very deep levels, the main driver of this entire process is this powerful energy of attachment. Attachment has the function of grasping at things, attachment has the function of exaggerating deliciousness, and attachment has the function of looking forward to something, always propelling forward, propelling forward. Do you understand? So attachment it's already programmed for your new mummy and daddy. So it's almost like, I'm joking saying it this way, but in the intermediate state, it's almost like you're twiddling your thumbs, waiting for your new mummy and daddy to come along and have sex so you can get your next life. Because you've created you've programmed, ready for it, waiting for it to come. And it's never more than a few weeks. They'll hop into bed, and that second you'll be driven by intense attachment and run to that egg and sperm. And then all the karma will start to ripen, and out you come, and here you are. I mean, that's one way of describing it. That's right. But except they don't use the word soul. It's your consciousness. Programmed with your tendencies. Yes. Going from life to life. So the whole point is, Buddha says, this is samsara, driven by attachment and delusions and negative karma, so we keep creating more wheels of life. We've got to cut that by giving up attachment, giving up delusions, giving up anger, giving up killing, giving up bad ethics, and thus getting rid of those seeds in the mind. And then virtue becomes prevailing, and then we stop creating new rebirths eventually. Life to life to life. Programmed by your actions. No one's doing it to you. And if you looked at your mind right now, if you had clairvoyance, you'll be able to see that you've got thousands upon thousands of lives already lined up, programmed, waiting to come.
When was it originated?
There can't be a start. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
Because if we keep going back, at certain point...
No, I know. We all want that. We all want to have that view. We all have that view. The Buddha would say that's not rational. This planet, yes. Planets and universes come and go. Bodies come and go. Things come and go. But Buddha would say that consciousness is, plural, trillions upon individual consciousnesses. There's that in the universe, and then there is matter, the four elements. They necessarily have to be beginningless. Because all of them are driven by the natural law of cause and effect. Karma is an example of cause and effect. So everything is driven by the law of cause and effect. So if you started the analysis, and this is matter, let's use the four elements, and you know that if you think of this cup, it came from previous stuff, which came from previous. And if you keep going, you're going to get back to what we call the Big Bang, isn't it? But then as Dalai Lama said one time, when he has all these discussions with scientists, Big Bang, no problem. Just not the first Big Bang, that's all. So even this universe, you began at some point, the package came together, but the matter came from previous and the mind came from previous. But we want a first moment. And that's how, with respect to Christians and Muslims, they've solved that problem by saying God made it all. And if you're a naughty boy in school and say, well, who created God? Be quiet. But it's a valid question. So the Buddha would say, if the whole universe runs according to the law of cause and effect, logically, you cannot find a thing that was the first cause. Because how can you have a thing that exists that didn't have a previous cause? You can't.
When was everything? At the Big Bang time, was everything all was one.
I know, but
Was different.
no, I know, but the Buddha wouldn't talk like that. He would say that big moment is a series of coming together, an explosion. Like the first moment of a cup, you can have that. The first moment of anything. But it has to have previous causes. And those things have to have previous causes. And those things have to have previous causes. How can you have a thing that doesn't have a previous cause? That's the point to think about, logically, intellectually. It's not comfortable.
That's the definition of Big Bang. There was nothing before.
But that's the point the Buddha says is nonsense. But no, not how. It is not how it is at all. It's some speculation of some scientists. Forgive me. But even intellectually, how can there be? If you posit the law of cause and effect, how can there be a thing that didn't have a previous cause? That's the thing to contemplate. Just that point is the thing to contemplate.
Because there's mathematics and...
No. I'm not discussing that. I'm not discussing all that. I'm not discussing all that. I'm discussing this simple point as a theory, as a concept.
The theory, everything was generated after the
No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking before it.
There was no before because there was no time.
No. That's a mistaken view, Buddha would suggest. There can't be. All I'm saying, no, you haven't got the point yet.
No.
Just a simple, forget Big Bang, okay?
Yeah.
Forget Big Bang. But the simple principle, we say cause and effect, don't we?
Yeah.
You accept?
Yeah.
And effect is the fruit of a previous cause. Now that cause was the effect of a previous cause. You're correct. So just keep it there and think about and meditate on that simple concept. If cause and effect is the law that runs everything, that is natural, how can there be a thing that's called the first cause? What was its cause? You have to have one if you posit cause and effect. That's the contemplation to do. Just intellectually. That's it. Meditate on that. Just there. Good, thank you. I think we can finish. Don't you think? Oh, come on. Well then, we'll finish with a meditation. Shall we do that? Where? Another question. Where? Who had one? Sasha. No, please, sweetie pie, you ask.
I think to your question, I think in Western world, maybe agree, there's a linear thinking, start and beginning.
Yes.
Isn't Buddhism more a circle?
No. That's an idea that people have, but it's a bit cosmic. No, past, present, future. It's linear. I mean, it's conventional. We're only looking at conventional reality here. Buddhism's got this whole description of ultimate reality, which we haven't even gone into yet, and all this leads to that. We're talking ordinary reality here. Cause, effect, good, bad, up, down, this, that, past, future, present. Simple terms that we all can agree upon. So normal conventional universe for the Buddha is past, present, future. Linear. Yeah. Yes.
So I also thought about your question.
Yes.
When you say the clairvoyant people can see the future, it's because
Yes.
they also apply linear thinking and they can see future because of the present moment.
Yeah, well, it's really, you think about it. Okay, if you're a really good gardener, a brilliant gardener, and I know nothing about botany, never heard of it, never thought it even existed, right? And you show me your hectare of ground out there, and to me it looks barren. But you know you've planted lots of seeds in it, because you're a good gardener, right? Now, you can proceed to give me a very clear vision of how it will look in 20 years. Do you agree with that? Why? What's the reason you can give me a vision of how it will look in 20 years? No, but give it simple reasons, simple practical words. Why can you give me a vision of how your garden will look in 20 years? Of what? Thank you. So I'll go, wow, you're clairvoyant. And you'll say, no, I just know the law of karma, the law of cause and effect. So the point is this. We also know that a million other laws can intervene, like the law of weather going all berserk and snowstorms and mean people coming in ripping out your garden. They can also occur too. But given the laws, we live our lives like this. You do the architecture plan of a 100-story building. You can tell me how to look in 6 months. Oh, I don't know this maths and engineering and architecture. I'll say the same thing. Wow, you're a genius. It's called simply cause and effect. You sow the seeds, you'll get the fruit. Well, that's all Buddha's saying. And if you look at the present, you can know the causes, and you look at what you do now, you can see the future. It's very practical. Do you understand? Okay. What? Where? Yes, go, darling. Start again, darling.
How and if free will exists
Well, it's interesting, this free will business. Let's do a little analysis of it. So let's give the appropriate respect to that philosophical concept and give it back to its source, and the source is called Jesus Christ. But everybody talks about it like it's a scientific thing. It's very people who are atheists talk about free will. But I don't know why. It came from Jesus. And Jesus says that God made you like him and then gave you the ability to choose. Now, I don't talk like that. I'm a Buddhist. I wouldn't talk this way. And that's what free will is. So I don't know what you mean by free will. So now that's the Christian teaching. Give me your view of free will, if you think it's something that's real. Oh, good. That's easy. So do we have the ability to make choices? Is that your question? What makes you think we don't? Don't you spend your life making choices? But don't you, I mean, do you look in your garden, okay, in general, in principle, do you accept that it's possible to pick a flower? In general, in principle, flowers exist. And in general, you have the ability to pick a rose. Is that true? Do you understand about pick? Okay. Do you have the ability to pick a rose from a garden, in general? That's called the freedom to choose, isn't it? Now, what is that dependent on? What is that ability to pick a rose dependent on? Thank you very much, Petal. So if you look in your garden and you see there are no roses, you can't pick a rose, can you? So if there is a rose there, you have the freedom to pick it. But where did the rose come from? Whose garden is it? Yours. So who grew it? So that's a cause for you right now, the ability to choose to pick a rose. So if everybody has in general the freedom to not be angry. Do you accept that? In principle, you have the free will to not be angry. But what if you've practiced anger all your life? You have never tasted patience. You've never heard of patience. Your attachment, your ability to be angry is so intense. In theory, you do have the potential to not be angry, but to choose not to. But effectively, at the moment, because the conditions are so strong, you do not have any damn choice at all. But you have it in principle. Are you with me now a little bit? It's more nuanced than that. So everything has causes. So the free will one assumes there's no previous cause. That's a bizarre idea. Everything has causes. So in theory, everybody can choose not to kill, lie, steal. I mean, give an example. One woman I met at a course told me about how she'd been married to a fisherman, fell in love with a fisherman, so she helped him with his business. He went fishing, she loved it, she loved with his husband. And then one day she went fishing, used to go fishing with her girlfriend. In the big deep sea, get these big deep sea fish. And they loved doing this her and her girlfriend. And one day, she got this big fish, they got the big fish, and it came way from down deep, comes up into the boat. And the thing is, once they do that, you can't put it back because it's like deep sea diving. It ruins their guts, right? They've got the fish. And then suddenly, she said, another big fish reared up into the water, circled the boat, looking into the boat. And she was convinced it was the wife of the fish. She said, I stopped fishing from that second. You with me? So that condition was the condition that was triggered her ability to stop killing, and it needed that. But before that, it didn't come. Another example, our friend in Australian friends who run Lama Yeshe Wisdom Archive in Massachusetts, okay. And every year they do a special practice, lots of Buddhists do this, on special days in the lunar calendar, they save lots of animals. So they always buy lobsters. They go to Maine where they buy lobsters and they save 462 lobsters, whatever. Then they do special practice and they release them on lobsters, okay? Well, this particular was on the television, the news. So this particular group of lobster fishermen in Maine, when they saw it, they were so offended. How dare these pathetic Buddhists insult our profession? So they called the television news and they purposely caught 462 lobsters just to prove to these Buddhists. So in other words, one woman saw a fish dying and it triggered her wish never to kill again. Another guy saw fish dying and it increased his wish to kill. So it all depends on what's in the mind. There's a dependent arising. But in theory, everyone's got the choice to stop killing. You understand? Good. Okay. Everything's dependent arising. I think that's enough. So we'll do a meditation. Just close your eyes. We'll talk about this more in depth tomorrow. There's different kinds of meditation. There's one kind that's called concentration, which we did mention. So we're going to do another variation of that. We did it for a few minutes before, which is merely to just watch your mind. The typical one that we do start with as Buddhists is you watch your breath, because that's easy. But this is a bit more complicated, a bit more weird. It seems a bit strange, but we do our best. And this is the beginning of what's called Mahamudra meditation, which we'll talk about tomorrow. So what you've got to do is just simply have your body come to. I'll go through the eight points about the meditation posture, which is coming from the experience of all the great yogis, okay? So the first one is ideal to be in full lotus position. His Holiness the Dalai Lama says best to start your meditation session like that. Even if you can't stay in it, it creates the cause, the auspiciousness of being able to do that in the future when you become a more advanced meditator. Because there's something about how that aligns the energies, the subtler energies of the body very nicely. If you can do that, fantastic. If not, sit half lotus, one instep on the other thigh. If not, ordinary cross-legged. If not, like some of us, in a chair. That's the first point. Second one, your back. It can't be straight. It's not straight, but upright. It's really important. Think of all your skeleton, all the bones, really upright. But all the soft bits, the muscles, all the soft bits, relaxed, very relaxed, hanging on the bones. That's a perfect way to meditate. Have your stomach muscles relaxed, your shoulders upright but relaxed. It's a perfect combination. Upright, but the soft parts all relaxed. The third bit is your hands, and the typical mudra or gesture that we're taught, and there are many variations, your left hand like this, underneath the right, thumbs touching like that. Your arms away from your body. But you can do it this way, whatever you wish, it's okay. So now the final piece, the crucial piece, is your head. Slightly tilted forward, not thrust back. It makes the mind agitated. Slightly tilted forward, chin tucked in a bit. Your lips slightly apart, which seems odd. Do that. And even more odd, the tip of your tongue resting behind the top teeth, just near the palate. All this position is practical. The great yogis who meditate for day upon day upon day have found that having the tip of the tongue behind the top teeth, near the palate, prevents you from dribbling. It's very practical. From having to swallow your spit all the time. Some of them meditate day and night. The next bit is your eyes, looking down along your nose as if you're looking at the ground. So the great yogis can keep their eyes open because their concentration is so good they don't get distracted. But we're probably not like that. So have your eyes lightly closed and your lids just lightly closed, So now settle into this position now, okay? And then forget all about it because your body doesn't meditate. Your mind does. So now for 3 or 4 quality minutes, we're going to pay attention to whatever pops up in our mind. So there are 1,000 thoughts a second popping up in our mind, but we don't ever pay attention. So here, the idea is it's almost like part of you is stepping back. And attention, there's a part of your mind called attention, one of the neutral bits. It's called attention. So just simply imagine this part of your mind watching all the crazy bits that come and go. And you don't have to analyze them. You don't have to conjure up a conversation. You don't have to decide to think something. You don't have to decide to not think something. It's like you're watching a group of people and all doing and saying what they want, but you're not involved in it. Think of it like this. So with strong determination, you're going to pay attention to whatever pops up in your mind. So what will happen is your mind will start spacing out or whatever. Just alert yourself back to the attention and just keep watching whatever pops up in your mind. That's the job. 3 or 4 minutes, quality minutes. Just don't space out. Just pay attention. Keep your mind sharp and alert. Don't space out. Sharp and alert. Just watch. Stay focused. So now we finish with a little aspiration. One of these many prayers, very big thinking bodhisattva prayers. So we think how wonderful it would be if all sentient beings could abide in equanimity, free of attachment, ignorance and anger. May they abide so. I will make this happen. This is the attitude of the bodhisattva, which we'll talk about tomorrow. This brave attitude of responsibility to help sentient beings, which comes from the wisdom wing. So I will make this happen. Please, Guru Buddha, bless me to be able to do this. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings could be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May they be free. I will make this happen. Please, Guru Buddha, bless me to be able to do this. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings could have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they have them. I will make this happen. Please, Guru Buddha, bless me to be able to do this. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were never parted from higher rebirths and liberations, excellent bliss. May they never be parted. I will make this happen. Please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able, Guru Buddha, bless me to be able to do this. And then we just delight this day since we started. As many thoughts as each of us has had is as many seeds we planted in this mind of ours, and they won't go astray. So we think how amazing from this listening, discussing, questioning, meditating. How fantastic. So may we continue to nourish these seeds with our efforts from this moment forward. Whether you're called Buddhist or not, it doesn't matter, I don't care. Keep working on our mind. Keep never giving up on our marvelous potential. Keep watching our body, speech and mind so that we eventually do develop our amazing potential for our sake and the sake of others. Changchob semcho grinpoche ma ke panam ke gyochig ke panyampa me payang gong ne gong du peva sho gewa di nyu du dag Lama Sangye Drugyurne Drowa Chikyang Malupa Dei Sala Gopasho Jang Chub Sem Chog Rinpoche Ma Ke Panam Ke Gyuching Ke Panyam Pa Me Payang Gong Ne Gong Du Pavasho. Thank you so much, everybody. Okay?